Morning, peeps. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully, you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget as well to like and share the vids. Also, don't forget, more importantly, this Saturday, live watch along for Tyson Fury versus Chisora. We're going to get underway at 7:30. Ring walk is 9 o'clock for the main event. So we'll obviously cover Daniel Dubois versus Kevin Arena and maybe a couple of more of the undercard fights as well. And as a bonus, this Friday, so Saturday, the live watch along, this Friday, we're going to do a live as well as we build up to Fury Chisora, and we'll talk about Estrada versus Chocolatito as well. So look, Friday live, Saturday live, should be fun. We're playing catch up. We've not done a few lives. We've not done any lives in a long time. So yeah, Friday live, Saturday live, make sure you put both of those in your diary. And it's a good thing as well. It doesn't clash with England. England's obviously playing Senegal on Sunday. So no excuse, people. Make sure you tune in Friday and Saturday. All right, let's see what there is to talk about from the world of boxing today. Let's start with this one. Chris Eubank on Ben's second positive drug test. I was like, wow, so he lied. Look, we still wait to see what's going to happen. Look, I guess, like everyone, we're waiting to see where Conor Ben's taking this to. Is it the Court of Arbitration for Sport? Is that what he's doing? Is he going higher than that? I have no idea what's going on with this Conor Ben situation. But let's hope that it gets sorted sooner rather than later, because it's starting to drag a little bit now. Tony Sims done an interview with, I think it might have been Rob Tebbett from ID Boxing. And I think Tony Sims was like, I 100%, I'm paraphrasing here, but he 100% believes in Conor Ben and he thinks he's going to be vindicated. So look, they clearly know something we don't, but let's see what happens in the next sort of couple of months or so. Back to Chris Eubank. Obviously, look, he's got this fight with Liam Smith coming up, and he he wore a KFC jacket to the press conference. I think he's fantastic at these things. Honestly, I think he's so good at the face-to-face and the press conferences. Like, give him a mic and this guy can sell himself. And as I've said in the past, it's a shame that we're only really seeing this side of him now. I know he's done it in the past. He certainly did it in the lead up to George Groves, but we didn't see enough. And I've always said, look, win or lose, he should be a British boxing star. He's got everything. He's got the charisma. Look, he's Marmite, right? Some people love him, some people hate him, but you're going to tune in to watch him. And to be fair, when he fights, it's entertaining. Like he's not in dull fights, is he? So it's a shame now that he's 33 that I think we're seeing this more and more. And I only hope that we saw it early in his career, but we didn't. But look, back to the fight against Liam Smith. Fantastic fight. We've already done a video on it. It's a good start to the year over here. When you think of that, Yarde, Beterbiev as well. I think Eddie Hearn sat down and spoke about the dates that Matchroom and DAZN are going to be doing stuff as well. So I think they've got something big scheduled for January. So it looks like it's a good start to the year, but that's probably the fight I'm looking forward to the most. Actually, no, it's not. Yarde Beterbiev, I think that's the fight I'm looking forward to the most, because I have no idea. I have no idea how Yarde is going to be against Beterbiev. Like, no idea. Does he stand in the pocket and try and trade? Yarde can hit. Beterbiev's 38. Look, I'm not trying to say Yarde's going to win, but he's got a chance. But on that percentage scale, you know, I always do this percentage scale thing. Like, I think I gave Chisora a 10% chance of beating Fury. I give Yarde a 30% chance. So obviously, look, Beterbiev's still a massive favourite, but I give Yarde a chance, you know. I am not sleeping on Yarde whatsoever. I'm not. At Prograde on Taylor, he hasn't got any better. I might stop him. Again, it was just one blip. It was just one blip against Jack Catterall. Didn't look good. Let's see what happens. Again, another fight that's going to kick off the year. I think they're going in February, right? Let's see what happens in a few months' time when Josh Taylor fights Jack Catterall. Like, I make Josh Taylor the favourite going into that fight. I think we all underestimated Jack Catterall a little bit. I think we all did. I think we're all guilty of it. And maybe, just maybe, Josh did as well a little bit. I expect to see a very, very good Josh here. And I think he'll get the job done against Jack Catterall. And then, maybe, if he decides he wants to stay at 140, maybe we see Prograde versus Josh Taylor again. Maybe. Who knows, right? Although I do think that will probably be that for Josh at 140. And let's see what he can do at 147. Jamel Charlo lashes out at Terence Crawford. He's just jealous, scared of Spence. I don't think Terence is jealous of Spence, and I certainly don't think he's scared of him either. Like, I don't know what's happened or what happened with the negotiations. Terence is giving his point of view. Errol's giving his point of view. Someone's lying, and it's just a shame. But this Jamel Terence thing's gone on for about a year as well now, where Terence has spoken about Jamel. Obviously, Jamel, the 154-pound undisputed. Could Terence go up another weight class? Not sure. Of the two Charlos, Jamel for me is the better. So he's going up against someone that is much bigger than him. Jamel was a lot bigger than Terence. And I think Terence is a better boxer, but not by much. So maybe Terence sticks at 147. Obviously, he's got his fight coming up in 2 weeks. I think his fight is against Avanesian in 2 weeks. He's getting paid $10 million for that fight, which is crazy. All right, let's talk about a fight that I think would be the biggest fight that can be made in boxing. Financially, everything. I just think it's the biggest fight. Could be wrong. I might be wrong. It could be Canelo versus someone. It could be Fury versus AJ. It could be. But I think the biggest fight that can be made in boxing right now financially is AJ versus Deontay Wilder. I think it's an enormous fight. I really do. Some people might laugh at that, especially when you look at the numbers that Wilder did in his recent fight against Elenius. They weren't great. They weren't great at all. But I feel like he needs the dance partner, and the dance partner is AJ. SHELLY FINKEL, his manager, has come out and said, look, that's the fight they want. They're willing to start negotiating, which is a completely different conversation to what was being had 3-4 years ago when SHELLY FINKEL didn't even really want to communicate with Eddie Hearn. Now that bridge seems to have been fixed and mended, and now they're like, okay, let's do it. Deontay Wilder has said he wants to fight AJ. AJ's always mentioned Wilder. I don't think he's as gun-ho for it as Wilder is. I think Wilder really wants it. I think AJ's more like, I want it, but I don't mind fighting Dillian White first. And you can understand AJ's coming off 2 defeats back-to-back. So you can understand for him going into the fire immediately against a Deontay Wilder could be a problem. Whereas Wilder has had that comeback fight of sorts against Elenius, and he's ready to go again. I just think it has everything. And it's weird how, look, the fight was supposed to have been made 4 years ago. I think it's still as big as it would have been. I mean, look, back then it would have been 2 unbeaten guys, 2 knockout artists. And I guess you could sell it a bit more. But now, for me, it's 2 guys that want to get back to the top. I love it. I really do. And I've obviously sort of come up with the phrase chaos in Lagos. Because this fight, for me, I'd love the fight to happen in Nigeria. I really would. I mean, we're seeing the Middle East get big fights right now, and I get it. They can chuck as much money as they want at it, and it doesn't really affect them. Obviously, we've always had big fights in London and big fights in America. What about a big fight in Africa? What about it? I mean, Eddie Hearn constantly speaks about trying to grow the sport. It's a worldwide sport. If you're trying to grow the sport, well, there's no better place to grow it than in Africa. There isn't. There is no better place where they love boxing. The history of boxing in Africa goes back so many years. We've produced so many good champions. And I just think it needs that kickstart again, especially Nigeria, where there are a lot of boxers out there. It needs a kickstart, and you're not going to get any bigger kickstart than if you chuck these 2 monsters, 6'7", 6'8", in the ring with each other in Nigeria. AJ, we know, is Nigerian. Deontay Wilder done one of those DNA tests, and it came back that he was 40% Nigerian. So you basically got 2 Nigerians going at each other in Nigeria. You can't. And the reason I say chaos in Lagos isn't just because the fight will be chaos, and it will be. Like, it's a fight that won't go points. I think we all know that. It's just even the organisation will be chaos. Like, I can say this. I've lived in Nigeria recently, and it's a chaotic country. But I think that adds to it. That really does. When you think of sort of the big fights, and look, the names I'm going to mention, obviously all sort of linked to Muhammad Ali, so that makes them bigger. But Rumble in the Jungle didn't happen in America. Thriller in Manila didn't happen in America. Like, you can have big fights outside of the States, outside of the UK. And I think AJ versus Wilder, in Nigeria could be as big as anything. Could be in Lagos. It could be in Abuja, National Stadium. It could be anywhere in Nigeria. But it should be... we should be trying to break new ground. And I think this is the fight that could do it. And there are multi-billionaires in Nigeria that could put that fight on. So when everyone... I don't know what people's impressions are of Africa. Maybe it's we can't afford it. They can afford to put that fight on easily. Dangote could afford to... Do your research on Dangote, Dangote. He was actually going to buy Arsenal a few years back. He can afford to put that fight on just like that. And I think it could help Nigeria for so many reasons, not just in terms of the future stars coming out of Nigeria, but in terms of just the economy, in terms of the money it brings to the country, tourism. I think it could be massive, and I'd love it to happen. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. After that speech, I don't think it's going to happen in Nigeria. I don't. Do I even think the fight's going to happen? Probably not. At least not next. And that's where, the sport's crazy. I'm not asking for much. I'm asking for the number 3 in the world, and I think versus the number 4 in the world. I think it's fair to say whichever order you want to have them. I know some people might chuck Joe Joyce in that, but for me, it's still AJ and Wilder. That should be next. That should happen. It's more likely, and I'm not mad at this, it's more likely that AJ fights Dillian White, especially after seeing that performance on the weekend. I think AJ will be licking his lips at the opportunity to fight Dillian White, and Wilder fights Ruiz. And then, I know we keep rolling the dice with these things, then it's even bigger. It's even bigger. But look, the Middle East will probably put in a bid that will blow anything out of the water. And obviously, DAZN and Eddie have this relationship with the Middle East now, and it's been a market that everyone's been trying to penetrate and they couldn't, and now Eddie's penetrated it, so he's going to continue to put fights over there. But just imagine, people, and trust me, I'm very, very British, so I understand how some Brits might feel about a fight being in Nigeria. I'm very British, but I'm also Nigerian, obviously. I'm telling you now, Nigeria can hold AJ versus Wilder, and it would be spectacular because it would be different. It would be different. It would be amazing. Honestly, it would be amazing. It's a shame. AJ spoke about this before. AJ spoke about wanting... I remember when AJ fought Klitschko the first time around, there was a lot of talk about AJ Klitschko going again. There was a lot of talk about it. And Nigeria was in the running. I think even Eddie mentioned it. He mentioned America. He mentioned UK. He mentioned the Middle East. He also mentioned Nigeria. And AJ did an interview with Kugan Cassius. And I think Kugan kind of laughed at it a little bit. And AJ said, what's funny? You don't think Nigeria can handle it? Nigeria can handle that event. The undercard would be incredible as well. But anyway, I've stuck to it. Chaos in Lagos. It's going to happen. And someone's going to have to pay a lot of money to get that name from me because that's mine now. Chaos in Lagos is mine. What's this? Now, Shakur Stevenson, 135 is an overrated division. No, it isn't. I'm talking about... I don't even know what I'm thinking. No, it isn't. It's not an overrated division at all. Whether or not he thinks he's the best, and that's, we'll wait and see, but it's not overrated. Like a division that has Ryan Garcia still in it, with Javante still in it, and Devin Haney still around, and even the fringe guys, the guys that he might not think are good, the Cambosas of the world, these are decent fighters. It's not an overrated division at all. Some might say 130 was a bit overrated, but we'll see. Look, I think Shakur eventually is going to be the king of that division. I think he's going to go up to 140 and be the king of that division. I actually think Shakur's going to go to 147 and be the king of that division. That's how good I rate Shakur. But I certainly don't think those divisions are overrated. What we got here? Just trying to see if there's anything else. Derek Chisora paying no attention to his naysayers as Tyson Fury fight nears. Yep, again, just a quick reminder, live watch along this Saturday. We'll see. Their little face-off yesterday was friendly, wasn't it? They're just two friends that are going to fight. I don't have a problem with friends fighting, by the way, because they're going to get in a ring and still try and punch lumps out of each other. It's not like, oh, we're friends and we're not going to hurt each other. They're going to try and hurt each other. And in the end, it's a handshake. It's that. He doesn't have much of a chance, I don't think. But you never know, As I said, Father Time can creep up on anyone. Fury's taking a lot of punishment, but Fury's mentally, physically, everything right now way above Chisora. So I expect Fury to get the job done. But I also, by the way, expect Chisora to put up a decent performance for a few rounds. I really do. Chisora could wobble him, you know. Chisora could hurt him. But then we know Fury has these powers of recovery, which just honestly don't make sense. They don't make sense. Timothy Bradley doesn't like Caleb Plant's chances against Benavidez. Nor do I. It's a good fight. It's a good fight, but yeah, I think Benavidez is going to beat him and beat him badly, if I'm honest with you. I think Benavidez is really, really good. And Caleb Plant's good, and I think we've seen that, but levels to this sport, and I think Benavidez is just above him in... I'm trying to think of what Caleb Plant does better than Benavidez. And nothing's screaming at me right now, and that's a bit of a problem. Whereas I think Benavidez does a lot better than Caleb Plant at nearly everything. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. All right, we'll end on this one. Ryan Garcia on Tank. Once he gets hit, let's see how he reacts. This is interesting because a lot of people have put it like Tank's the puncher, and Ryan can hit. Ryan can really, really hit. He's really growing into his man strength. Ryan's a big hitter as well. Look, Tank, obviously, we know can put you to sleep. But Ryan can put you to sleep as well. He really can. So it is going to be interesting. Ryan has all the tools to beat Tank. I don't know if he just has the tool up here. Does he have that belief that he could really beat him? Because Tank is going to walk into the ring thinking he's going to blow him away. Like Tank, we know, thinks he can beat Ryan. And what we might see from Tank, look, in recent fights with Tank, he's completely neglected his boxing ability and his boxing skill. He's almost just like decided to bite down at his gum shield and take one to land one. We might see Tank revert to a bit more boxing. Let's not forget, by the way, Tank was a fantastic amateur. I think he had something like his amateur record was something like 220-11, like 220 wins, 11 defeats. It's very, very good amateur. So he can box, but he just chooses to knock you out, which isn't a bad thing. But he might revert back to a bit of boxing. What a fight this is. What a fight. Let's hope, because they're both having interim fights, let's hope there's no issue with the interim fights and they both come through it unscathed. But what a fantastic fight. All right, guys and girls, Chaos in Lagos. Let's start making it trending. I might set up a hashtag, Chaos in Lagos. I like it.